Okay, we got an emergency here. Michael Bay's about to blow some shit up. What is up, everyone? Movie Win back again with another review, and it's going to be for the 2022 film Ambulance, and this is directed by Michael Bay and stars Jake Gyllenhaal, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II, and Eliza Gonzalez. This tells the story of two brothers who, after a failed bank robbery, end up stealing an ambulance which has an injured cop and a paramedic on board, causing a high-speed chase across the city. I remember I used to do the movie news on this channel a couple of years ago, and I remember this actually getting announced, and I didn't hear anything about it since, and here it is, plonked straight onto our cinema screens. Now, I know that isn't too important to you lot, but on a personal level, that was just strange to me. Now, when it comes to Michael Bay, I am always sceptical. He is a bit of a hit and miss director for me, and even though he's known as being this big, great action director, his action scenes for me just kind of do nothing sometimes. I mean, I do feel like half the time they're very lackluster, in fact. But how did Ambulance turn out? Was this a hit or another miss? First of all, I thought the first 30 minutes of this film were absolutely fantastic. Mateen and Gyllenhaal as these adopted brothers going to rob this bank in this massive heist that's going to land them this gigantic score. It was always tense and really well constructed, and I was just thinking, wow, this is going to be a massive tick on Michael Bay's CV, and I can see this being a hell of a lot better than some of his other movies. And Jake Gyllenhaal's character here was a little bit off the rails as well. He's kind of over the top. He's always shouting and screaming everywhere. But as a viewer, that never became annoying to me or anything. Now, other actors may struggle to pull this off and lose the audience with this, but I always felt attached to him. I enjoyed him. I thought he's a pretty fun character to be around for pretty much the entire film. After that opening half an hour, this movie starts to become a high-speed chase across the city when Gyllenhaal and Mateen take over this ambulance. Now, I'm not going to go into too much other spoiler territory here. I just need to let you know that after the first 30 minutes, that's what this movie turned into. And you can expect a hell of a lot of action scenes here. It's a Michael Bay movie, and that is pretty much what we get. At times, this felt like I was back in the 90s. Action films were rolled out all the time then, and they didn't really give a shit. They were just there to entertain, and most of them just had a very mild story. And I do think Michael Bay had this in mind when directing this film. He's a bit of an old school director himself. One of his earliest films is Bad Boys, of course. And I do respect him for that, because we don't really get too many of these movies no more. And this was a very nostalgic time for me. I don't think Ambulance quite grasped what them films had, but I can see what it was trying to do. And while this can be fun enough at times, with debris flying everywhere, cars crashing into things, bullets spraying the screen, it does unfortunately become the most Michael Bay of all Michael Bay movies. I mean, if they made a Michael Bay video game, Ambulance would be the top boss that you had to take on. I'm just not really a fan of the guys directing at times. I mean, sometimes he can do it well. Transformers really, really worked for me. I absolutely loved that film. But most of the time, I just get this feeling that Michael Bay is trying too hard. For example, the use of drones that he uses here is just every other scene. I mean, they're flying around skyscrapers, going under tunnels and stuff. And there are so many close-ups inside the ambulance. He's having a lot of Paul Greengrass moments as well, with the camera shaking everywhere. But I think I seen every single pore on Mateen and Gyllenhaal's face. I mean, the camera was just zoomed right in on their cheekbones there. Now, I get we are inside an ambulance, which is a very compact space, and maybe Michael Bay was going for that. But I've got to admit, it wasn't easy on the eye and became very, very frustrating. Also, although it may seem like other scenarios are happening on screen, I can't help but compare this movie to the chase scene in Bad Boys 2. Now, what I mean by that is, that's like a 10-minute scene. There is Ferraris flying everywhere. You know, you can tell a lot of the budget went on this scene. There's lots of shooting with, the cops and the bad guys and stuff. And it may feel like there's a lot of things going on in that chase scene, but overall, it doesn't really elevate. I mean, it just feels very much the same. And I don't know how he sort of done that, but it's never tense on anything. That scene for me is not a very good car chase. It just feels very, very repetitive. And that's exactly the feeling I got with the rest of the film of Ambulance after that bank robbery scene, the whole movie. Also, as fun as Gyllenhaal is in this film, I don't think he has great chemistry with Mateen. I mean, these are two guys who are meant to have known each other all their life, but I much preferred them when they were on screen on their own, if you like. They're not exactly a dynamic duo. And the movie sort of asks you to connect with them a little bit, but I just couldn't. I mean, he's fun to watch, of course, but you don't really care about what happens to either of them. They're kind of doing an unforgivable act here. However, Elisa Gonzalez does redeem things in the character department when it comes to caring about anyone, if you care about anyone at all. Now, there is a small problem that just bugged me with the writing here, but we hear later on that Gyllenhaal has robbed 37 banks. He's this master of robbing banks. And he kind of asks Yahya Abdul-Mateen to help him on the day of this massive heist, the biggest score of his life. I mean, if this guy's robbed 37 banks, he's meant to be this great bank robber, you think he would have had it planned out way better than just asking his adopted brother to help him on the day. In fact, an hour before the robbery. I just couldn't get, any believability with that whatsoever. I'm just going to go ahead and rate this movie now. I'm going to give Ambulance a 5 out of 10. I really just wish Michael Bay would direct these action scenes a little bit better. And I don't know how much care he's trying to put into these, but like I said, it just looks like he's trying too hard. Now, take Bad Boys 1, 2 and 3 for example. Michael Bay directed the first two of them films, and the third one is directed by these two Belgian brothers, I believe. I forgot the names, I'm really sorry. But the third one is the best directed when it comes to the action scenes. So it can be done, Michael. It can be done. Okay, at the end of these reviews, I always like to leave a little fun fact. Now, a fun fact for Ambulance is that this is the third movie that Jake Gyllenhaal has starred in that is a remake of a Danish film. The other two being The Guilty and Brothers. Okay guys, hope you all enjoyed this review. Please consider subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. I've got a lot more reviews coming, lots more videos, and if you want to comment about the movie Ambulance, leave it down below, and I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, guys, and I'll see you on the next video.